Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Group Chat and happy MLK Day.
Happy MLK Day, drama.
We're going to give you a little rundown of, I don't know if everyone out there knows why today is MLK Day, but we're going to tell you. We also have some interesting facts about Martin Luther King. And we're going to talk about, I don't know, what's on our minds or, it's an interesting time in the country. And I think MLK Day and his legacy is it's good to talk about with everything going on in this crazy country of ours.
Yep.
So that, and then we have a lot of other things to talk about. There's a lot going on in the news, as always. Of course, we're going to do a little bit of our thoughts still on like everything going on at the Capitol, the free speech issue in the tech world. We have 3 days until Donald Trump leaves office. He's trying to leave with a huge military-style send-off. Looks like that's not going to happen. But curious, what's old Joe going to do? What's first on the priority list?
A lot for Sleepy Joe.
A lot, man. I just got to say, I hope his hand is strong. You know what I mean? Get the pen, keep that hand strong. You got a lot of work to do as soon as you get in there.
I thought that was a reference to masturbation.
Well, look, I'm guessing Joe's at the age where that might be a little tough. But what he can do is sign his name a bunch of times.
Okay.
Hopefully. All that and many more. Kanye West is in a lawsuit. So we're going to talk about it.
Okay. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, Group Chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Ladies and gentlemen, happy MLK Day.
Yes.
So
big celebration.
We're recording on Sunday, and this will come out Sunday night, but tomorrow is when we celebrate MLK Day. And fun fact, the reason why we celebrate MLK Day on Monday, January 18th. The reason why is because, and you know what, I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to be honest here and not try to act smart. I thought I was going to be embarrassed because I thought I was going to jump on the podcast and I was going to ask that question and everyone was going to roast me because it's so obvious. But the reason is because Martin Luther King's birthday is January 15th. And so it's always the first Monday after January 15th. So, in fact.
Yeah, that's it. You learn something every day. That's an important fact to know.
Welcome to Group Chat. And if you don't learn about Bitcoin or SPACs or whatever else we talk about, at least you can learn these type of facts.
Yeah, and given that it is MLK Day, I was just reading stuff about him, and I found someone that had found all these interesting facts about him that maybe people don't know. He was actually born Michael King Jr.
Okay.
His father changed his name when he was 5 years old, when his father was a pastor that traveled to Germany and became inspired by the Protestant Reformation leader. Is it pronounced Reformation or Reformation?
I think Reformation. Okay,
Reformation leader Martin Luther.
Yeah.
And that's why they changed his name. So, I mean, that name change is actually quite significant in like from a historical standpoint, because it's like MLK, Martin Luther King. It just sounded like a better, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, props to dad. And did he I wonder if that affected, I don't know. This might sound silly, but I always wonder if when you're named after a great person and your dad from such a young age is essentially compares you to this great person in history and you're going to be like that and you're going to be at this level, did some of that help propel him to, I don't know. It's just interesting.
Yeah. And then King entered college at the age of 15. So Martin Luther King entered college at age 15. He skipped grades 9 and 12 before enrolling at Morehouse in 1944.
Eesh.
And it's just crazy, when you think about who these people are in history and how how they are kind of portrayed, you don't realize like so much of who they are started when they were children. And then Martin Luther King was imprisoned nearly 30 times. He was arrested for acts of civil disobedience 29 times in his life.
Do you know
he died a very young man.
The shocking thing is he died at 39. You're 40, dude.
Yeah. I made it.
Yeah. It's crazy when you like, as you get older, I think when you're like young and it's like, you just look at everyone as old.
Yeah.
But when you get older and you can kind of put that into perspective, like even to be able to like make that impact that he made by 39, sheesh, man. I really wonder what Martin Luther King would think of the visuals of the Capitol Hill riots.
My guess is if he had the context of what happened the last 4 years, he probably wouldn't be surprised. Like he probably would expect that kind of insurrection. Yeah. And the most shocking thing about, for me at least, for the MLK kind of history is the length that which the FBI went to try to silence him. So the FBI was actively spying on him. They actively recorded what it's up for debate for history, what they claim was infidelity, and try to bribe or bully him into silencing himself, telling him and his wife, we're going to expose this to the world. And they were actively wiretapping him, calling him a communist. And this is the FBI. And this was like 40 years ago. And now or 50 years ago. And now he has like a national holiday after him. So it's kind of crazy to think the context of history of like what people at the time think are, they treated him like a criminal, right? 30 times in jail is what Dee said. And then the FBI is wiretapping him, and now he's celebrated as a national hero. So I think it's important just kind of, as we go through even our own current history, to see what figures are vilified versus celebrated. Like I think Snowden's going to be one of those types of guys that was like treated like a criminal, and he'll be celebrated later. Not to say it's the same impact as MLK, but it's just crazy to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just interesting. It feels, and I don't have like an opinion on it even yet. It's just really interesting to me this year, right after you saw, and I know a lot of people get mad when you make it a race thing, but a shit ton of white people protesting, storming the Capitol. There's been the issues that have been talked about police walking white ladies down the stairs, holding their hand politely out of the Capitol. It's a really interesting year because you just had like this white outrage and, and the FBI is involved and the FBI is tracking people down. And like, I don't know. It's so interesting to me this year in particular, like, and how someone like him would have even spoke on it, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the contrast of what happened last week and then this new administration coming in, which is the polar opposite of what happened last week, and it's the week of MLK. I think it's just interesting to think about, like just the contrast of what all this means.
Yeah. But I will say, like, back to my original point, I know a lot of people don't agree with this, but I'm a big believer that one thing that we lack in this new age is great leaders. In general, across the board, but especially in the like civil rights discussion and in some of these discussions, like I just think here we are this many years later, and Martin Luther King, what he was able to accomplish at 39, still means so much. And we still use it as a point of reference. And we still talk about what he did and how that reflects on today and what's today's version of Martin Luther King. And, I don't know. I just think I understand the contrary point, but man, what a powerful, I think that part of the reason why, maybe the only reason why the Capitol Hill thing happened, why there's all of this uproar in that community, is because there's a leader. Donald Trump is a leader for those people, and he gave them momentum and steam and was able to organize them and tell them all to go to one place at once and get them all excited. And like, I just wish we had more leaders for the positive causes, that were like, had the personality, and could get people to go act.
We brought this point up, like the civil rights movement that's been going on last summer. There was no leader; it was fragmented, and there was no unified message. And some were defund the police, and some were reform the police, and some were like the messages were all over the place. And that's why they ultimately got a lot of criticism because it just wasn't like.
Yeah, but I've spoken to so many people about this, and the main reason why, and it was strategic, is that historically any black leader of this movement has died.
Right.
So it's not in the best interest of the movement, because guess what? Killing the leader of a movement kills the movement. It really undermines the movement. And so I understand what we all believe. We think would be great to have a leader, but it just historically hasn't bode well for that group of people. So, we'll have to work without that as a North Star and still make progress, because, just look at how the rioters were treated at the Capitol versus that's why people keep bringing it up, versus had those been black people.
Yeah.
We would have seen like 100 dead. Well, it wouldn't have even gotten there. Put it like that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have been allowed on the steps.
Yeah.
Let alone the videos I saw today of like people videotaping in the Capitol, like, where's Nancy Pelosi? Where's Nancy? They were going to grab Nancy Pelosi and Mike Pence. If Nancy Pelosi and Mike Pence were just so happened to be wandering the halls there, they'd be dead.
The New York Times report came out and said that they were 60 seconds away and like 90 feet from Pence.
Yeah.
Did we talk about the video? Did you guys talk about it maybe on one that I was gone, about the black security guard that like duped them and led them the wrong way?
No, we didn't.
So that's, and that's a good thing to bring up here is like this guy, I don't know if anyone's like interviewed him yet or got like his count of the story, but the way that it looks and is explained is that he, there's that video of the guy with like a baton sort of backing up the stairs, and it's like the first group of riders, and he's trying to like keep them back. And like apparently he walked up to the top of the stairs and looked over to his left and knew that door led right to, Pence and where everyone was. And so he turned and like shoved the guys like, don't come this way, and like, led them the wrong way. And wow, man, if that's the case, if that's what really happened there, that's insane. And this guy's like a hero. Like they would have walked in there and shot Mike Pence
easily. It's just madness. I just still can't believe what happened. And yes, they're arresting them and they're like, oh, they're going to seek justice. But like, we allowed them to get into the Capitol building. And we allowed
the argument against deplatforming. So Amazon came out this week. There was multiple reports that they gave Parler 100 warnings to remove content that incites violence. 100. And then they removed them. So don't give me this like bullshit on free speech and all. Like, it's just nonsense.
Yeah. I still don't get it. I listen to podcasts and stuff all weekend, and the All In podcast where they're all up in arms about it. And like, I just fundamentally disagree.
You know what? I think
could not even listen to their podcast. I turned it off because I disagree with them so much. And I'm supposed to be, people obviously listen to us and disagree with us all the time. And I like to hear contrary opinions. Yeah. But like, this is just one I cannot listen to.
You know what it is? You know what it is actually? What I really think it is it's this like genius guy, brilliant guy feedback loop. Like if you're an intellectual, you have to take the free speech side. So like Naval comes out and everyone's like, oh, if Naval's saying it, then I got to be on the side of Naval. He's a genius. Yeah. If these people are saying it, you have people that can't even hold the argument, and they just like everyone. It's if you think you're really smart, it's cool to say you believe against deplatforming.
Yeah, and the biggest problem is those guys are just out of touch. They don't live in fucking reality. Any of those people who say that, none of them live in a society where you have to deal with that head on day to day. They're just tweeting from their $50 million house, and they're just completely out of touch.
The biggest decisions they have is whether they're going to Yellowstone Club or El Dorado or Aspen on the weekend.
Like, fuck out of here, guys.
I think it's a good time, D, for you to start your own platform called D Platform. and anything goes. It's for everyone who's been deplatformed, and you can say whatever you want.
Well, I mean, it would be more of a dictatorship on my platform. If I want to hear it, it's allowed. If I don't, it's not allowed.
You know what? Even better. Never mind. It's deplatform, and it's the platform where you can be deplatformed just because D doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's free hosting, though.
Okay, perfect. So anyway, I think this year, even more than past, everything going on in the news has really made MLK and what he stood for and how much of an impact he still makes. I don't know, even more important, even more interesting, even more whatever it is. But I just, once again, at 39, to be able to make such an impact that it's still an inspiration for people that go out and try to make change is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, complete topic jump. D, why were you talking about Domino's Pizza? You eat Domino's Pizza?
So I hadn't ordered in a very long time, probably 10, 15 years. And we ordered on Friday, Domino's.
Okay.
And because they make those little, when you order the thin crust, it's like a square, and it's easy for our son to eat it. So I was like, we should order that pizza because he'll eat it then. So I order it, and I go on the app. The app's amazing. I've downloaded the app before because I just wanted to see what the experience was, and it was amazing. So I ordered a cheese pizza, and whatever. It came to our door. We live not too far from one, so it came in like 15 minutes. We eat it, and Haley's like, "Oh, you didn't order tomato sauce." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." But the pizza tasted incredible. So then I go look on the app, and I didn't realize how the ordering goes. It lets you order a sauce. And so there's all these options like zesty tomato and barbecue and ranch. And I wanted ranch just on the side. And it said, do you want regular or extra? And I said extra. So they would give to dip. I instead ordered a pizza without tomato sauce, just extra ranch and cheese. And it was amazing.
So there was ranch on the pizza?
Yes.
Wait, so under the layer of cheese, you had ranch?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And we were like, wow, this pizza tastes so good. But it has no tomato sauce. What's that flavor coming from? And then we realized later it was just a ranch pizza.
You invented a pizza.
Well, they give it as an option, so people are ordering this.
A few things. Domino's is incredible. The pizza is awesome. It's so simple and it's just amazing. And then randomly, it's funny that you bring this up. I heard a podcast last week that broke down the genius of the business of Domino's. So I just want to share a few facts. I don't want to get too deep into it. 95% of all franchisees of Domino's are former employees at the store level. So either managers or just employees. The average franchisee has 6 to 7 Domino's and produces $1 million of free cash flow.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. And they talk about their strategic advantage is they're vertically integrated. So they supply the pizza dough, sauce, cheese, everything to all the franchisees. And then secondly, all their point of sales is unified back to Michigan, where their headquarters is. So they know exactly what products are working and what aren't working. And then the most interesting thing I thought was that everything is made in the same oven. So the predictability of time and deliverability is like on point. So when they say like your pizza's coming in 25 minutes, they know exactly how long it takes to make it. It's not like you're using different ovens, and it's a fascinating business.
I'll even tell you this. So I said, leave it at my front door. I pick up the pizza. There's a pedestal pizza holder. They literally have created, probably during the pandemic, a piece of cardboard that acts like a table that they put under the pizza when they deliver it, so the pizza box doesn't touch the floor, which is obviously gross when you put it into your home. So they've thought, And when you order like Domino's or Pizza Hut or whatever, you instantly get it and it's hot. Whereas like you order from any delivery app, it's more than likely wrong and the food's cold.
Yeah.
And it's overpriced.
All right. Well, Domino's business of the year.
Yeah, Domino's is awesome.
Try out their new ranch and cheese pizza.
Their ranch is phenomenal, I must say.
Yeah.
Domino's is phenomenal ranch.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Some news. What's going on with the stock market? Why are we getting warnings that we are at the tip of the biggest bubble ever and it's all going to come crashing down? Do I need to adjust my Robinhood account or what's going on here?
Well, I saw a video on that Twitter handle, TikTok Investors, where this couple said, we don't have full-time jobs. We just travel and we make money off trading. And this is this is my trading strategy. I watch a stock, I see how it's going up. And once it starts look like it's going up, I just buy and then I sell it a little bit higher. And that's how we make money. And, that's a way you can do it too without ever working and get to travel all day.
I told you, man.
It kind of sounds like they're using the zoom out strategy.
It is.
I told you, it's really weird in there in TikTok investing advice land.
Yeah, and I can't wait till the TikTok IRS account comes up and showing TikTok is getting arrested for evading taxes.
Yeah, 100%. So is that the sign of the end?
No, I mean I think the real challenge is that like historically speaking, every metric that people track to see stock market value, it's at an all-time high. And so I think people understand, and the problem is it's not coinciding with the economy. The economy is not at an all-time high. In fact, it's quite the opposite. So you have these overinflated assets, and then I saw the treasury yields are now creeping up. Like there's a chance a 30-year yield bond would get to 2%, which is probably going to attract a lot of foreign investors that want just some basic safe way to park their money. So it just, here's the thing. The stock market will correct at some point. This isn't forever. It could correct for 3 months. It could correct for 1 month. We don't know when it's going to happen, how long it's going to be. I just think that like at this point, people just think inevitably the stocks just keep going up, 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 and it never corrects. We just don't know if it's happening this year. It could happen next year. It could happen 5 years from now. I think people are just being warning and saying, be cautious because the music will stop. I mean, it's stopped every single time in history. Why wouldn't it stop now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think because I remember sitting in the office with you guys probably like 3 years ago now being like, here it is. Like I remember there was like a couple days where there was a pretty big dip and we're like, all right, this is it, buckle down. And like here we are 3 years later. It's like, what is going on, man? It feels crazy.
But what you're talking about, drama, was like 2018 when the economy was actually doing really well and the Fed was starting to raise interest rates. And that's when the stock market started to correct. So it's going to be, I think, just directly correlated whenever the Federal Reserve decides to raise interest rates. And it's not going to happen anytime soon. So like now you have to think about what are the other catalysts to the stock market going down. I mean, inflation, I suppose, but we already are technically seeing asset inflation because everything's up. I don't think anyone knows is the right answer. And everyone's making so much money that they're incentivized to keep the game going. Yeah. And it's just like, I mean, you talk about like how much wealth has been created and every IPO is just like bananas. And I don't think it's stopping anytime soon. But when it does stop, it's going to correct. But what we've learned this year is that the government views the stock market as therapy for the country.
That's the last president. I don't think future presidents are going to think that. Donald Trump only cared about the stock market because he equated success with stock market. And that's why the country is in the situation where it is. You have inflated stock market and a deflated society. So he's a fucking moron.
If you think about it, he's a genius in the aspect that what he did was he picked a tangible scoreboard that he could sort of help pump up, and he could point to Americans. There is a point system, and I am winning.
Every
president has trouble being like, well, look, I passed healthcare. I blah, blah, blah. But like the perception might be a little whack or whatever. You can say, look at the number, 30,000.
And what's so funny is our friend Jaleel White, who posts a lot of memes on his Instagram. He has like a meme show. He posted the person excited about the stock market. It points to the stock market, and it's a guy in a raggedy old house run down with an American flag that has no money. That's talking about the stock market. I mean, like the only people that should be talking about the stock market are like you look the top 20% of Americans have enjoyed the stock market. Nobody else, literally nobody else. Like if you have $1,000 in the stock market, you didn't enjoy what like our parents who have saved their money and have money in the stock market, and they're like, yeah, we had a great year.
Yeah.
And we probably made more money than they have ever made, and they didn't work.
But that's where that extra like silent 40 million Trump voters were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like the 30 million that are like, yeah, I'm into the whole Capitol thing. Like, what is, Trump land? And then there's like the 40 or whatever the numbers work out to be. They're like, I'm just going to quietly hope this keeps going.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's the one time in history that the public won in terms of the stock market. So I remember vividly in March and April, the smartest people I know in finance were like, this is ugly. Like, this is Great Depression status. And we're just going to kind of chill out and wait to see what happens. And then the average Joe was like, nah, the stock market's down 20%. We're going all in. Tesla doesn't go down. Like, and then the figured it out in like May and June. We're like, fuck it. I'm going to ride this wave.
If you think about it, like, I think Davey Day Trader was exactly at the moment when like his stocks only go up was right when everyone was realizing like, what the fuck? Like, it was like this initial dip, and then he hit it right at the right moment, and it worked. It's just crazy, man. But I wonder, like, is Biden so worried that you don't want to get in there and just crater the stock market that he keeps the party going, or is that not his priority and we see some trouble in the next year?
I don't know. I mean, he has a very aggressive first 100 days. I mean, I think the first goal is, and whatever, we'll just get into it. His first goal is obviously vaccines. He wants 100 million vaccines out in the first 100 days. He's talking about a national mask mandate, and then stimulus for, I think there's like 500 billion going to stimulus directly into Americans' wallets. So I think it's like vaccine, contain virus, stimulus, and then we'll start like working on all these other things. Like there's an immigration issue that he's talking about with DACA folks. And so I think, maintaining the economy has to be his top priority while all these things are happening, because all of these other things become irrelevant if people are unemployed or people are stopped getting stimulus checks. So like I would agree. I think this year the market just may stall. Like it just may be like a whatever year. I just be shocked if they allow it to go down, given that like now it's become, the tune has changed. Like people now equate stock market, like the average Joe is paying attention to the stock market. That didn't happen in previous recessions. Yep. Like when Lehman Brothers was going bankrupt and whatever, I'm sure we could talk to people that are 30 years old. They're like, yeah, recession. Yeah. They don't remember how scary that like 2-week span was when people were like, the world's going to fall apart. But today, because you have a Robinhood account and you see like, oh shit, like every day, it's funny, the days the market starts down, by the end of the day, it's damn near up or not that down anymore. Yeah. Like it's like a video game. Oh, yeah. we're just gonna for fun start down today, and then by the end of the day we'll be back up. It didn't even stay down.
Yeah, I feel like the down days are just buy days. It's like, oh, a day to buy. How fun.
Yeah. It's
and by the end of the day.
It's like Macy's stock market's having a sale today. Everyone get in.
It is. It literally is like, 20% off today. How great. And then you just, by the end of the day, you made money.
Yeah, literally, it's so insane. That to me is just like mind-blowing. Mind-blowing.
That's so good. And then so what's this look like? Like Biden gets in there and there's like a bunch of executive orders. He's just signing shit. Like what does it look like?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
his hand doesn't get tired. I mean, he's on the older side.
I know, man.
Yeah, so I think the big ones are obviously vaccine. 100 million doses is the game plan. Giving enough funding on the federal level, whether it's FEMA, National Guard, to help get the doses out. The other is around stimulus. So they're going to pass that stimulus bill, I think, like within a week, because they control the Senate and the House.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of immigration things that Biden's talking about. So laying out a pathway for undocumented workers that were frontliners that helped during the pandemic, like where's their pathway to gaining a legal status? So that's very important to him. And then other undocumented workers, what's the pathway to citizenship or, a legal status? The problem is, I don't know if you guys saw this, I think the New York Times or Washington Post reported it, because Biden's becoming president, there's like a caravan coming from Central America.
No.
Yes. So they posted a picture of like thousands of people walking toward the American border.
It's the caravan from 4 years ago. They're like, all right, back on the road.
Yeah. So they're all seeking asylum. And so they think the Biden administration will be a little bit more open-minded for that process. So, I mean, I think Biden, this guy, it's crazy. And I hate to sound like, because I'm a liberal Democrat, but like the last two Democratic presidents, Biden and Obama, got handed a pile of shit by Republicans. Like Barack was handed like the biggest pile of shit in American history. Yeah. And then fast forward,
Biden, there's literally shit in the hallways of Capitol Hill.
Yes. I mean, I can't imagine. This is the most, I thought Obama had it bad. This is way worse.
Yeah.
Because the country's even more divided, and he's white. He's a white president.
Yeah. Yeah. They just, did you see that they said they stopped a guy with like a bunch of ammunition and a fake Biden like press pass or something for the inauguration in DC? I mean, think about that element that like, to be honest, I didn't even think about the full scope. Like, as this stuff comes out more and more, there's all these stories about like a lot of the people in that riot group were like ex-military, ex-cops, like some of the hand gestures they were using, some of the techniques were like military and stuff. It's like they are like, I even heard that I think we might have talked about this, that they have like snipers with the intention of keeping an eye on police as well, because they don't know like if someone might have infiltrated, like if this mentality is in like a Secret Service member or a cop. Like, I can't imagine. So now you're talking about stimulus, immigration, stock market, all this, vaccines, and like, it seems like the threat to his life might be higher than it's been for a president in the last who knows how many years.
I mean, did you see like DC's locked down all week?
But check this out. This guy, this armed security guard who was arrested at the Capitol checkpoint, carrying 500 ammo rounds, fake Biden inauguration credentials, says he was late for work and forgot to remove guns from his truck. Let me just tell you, if that was a black man rolling up to Donald Trump's immigration.
Oh my God.
Inauguration. What do you think the country, we'd be at war with each other.
And the news would be treating it like we just caught Osama bin Laden in DC. Like it would be like, we found a terrorist. Like that's how it would be treated.
How about an Olympic gold medal swimmer from the University of Southern California was part of the riot gang and has been charged in Southern Park. USC is on fire.
Well, USC is definitely a safe haven for racists. I mean, that is probably in terms of the West Coast. We have to take the cake for racism.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have experienced it, so I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you go from being a gold medal swimmer in the Olympics to storming the Capitol?
That's what's scary is like there's this narrative that I've even definitely joined in on that like these are all broke, opioid, addicted, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like it's one lady flew there on a private jet. This guy's a gold medal swimmer. There was cops in there. There was security guards. There was ex-military. There was government people in lower level government positions.
Yeah.
Like it's nuts. And the thing that I never thought about is like, what if cops, high level, I mean, the cop that they killed was a Trump supporter. What if there's high level cops or the next cop that is a Trump supporter that saw that cop get killed and is just like, fuck it, I'm with you guys actually.
Yeah.
Like it's so crazy to think that if this is, domestic terrorism and there's, law enforcement and security that are on that side, it seems so like unimaginable to us, I think, because we see it as like a bunch of hicks from Alabama. But like, it's not, it's so much more than that.
And what do you think? I mean, Barack Obama's security detail, do you think it 3X'd in the last month, 2X? Like, it must be insane.
Yeah.
Like, wherever he lives, they must have tripled the security because these people are nuts.
Yeah, and so I agree. I think you're totally right. And then also, like, what do you think as far as security for an inauguration? Most ever?
Oh, yeah. It's like, they said they've never seen DC like this ever before. I mean, they're not going to let anyone go get a freaking coffee in DC if on the inauguration day. I mean, inauguration's on the 21st, right? So that's Thursday.
I thought it was Wednesday, the 20th.
Sorry, Wednesday. So we're a few days away. I mean, they can't let these guys right now go park their, Raptor truck.
It's a Raptor.
It's a Raptor truck and just waiting. Like they'll sleep in their cars for 3 days just to pop out like they're in freaking Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
And so I think the next couple of days is scary. I think we have Donald Trump's last days of office, which he wanted a military-style parade to exit his presidency, and the Pentagon denied it because they're like, you want to have these people lined up in the streets of D.C.? This is what I'm talking about. He wanted to incite violence. Yeah. This is not free speech debate. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
he's always known what he was doing.
Yeah,
and then you saw that among Republicans, there's only been like a small dip in support.
I don't understand that because I also saw a stat that like he had like the lowest approval rating ever, but is that like in general?
Yeah, he has 29% approval rating as presidency, but that polls everybody. Lowest ever, I think, was Richard Nixon when he was getting thrown out. All Richard Nixon did was just had people break into the Democratic National Headquarters to get secrets for, for his election. And then this guy was so mad.
I would take that any day. But that's what
the Democratic Party. I mean, Trump was publicly saying, "Can we get the emails hacked?" 4 years ago.
I mean, Trump was reaching out to Ukraine to try to get info on Hunter. Like, I'm sure he does worse than that on a freaking Tuesday.
Look,
it said Republicans are still into it.
9 in 10 Republicans approve of Trump's job performance. So that one message that someone sent me that changed their mind, that was the only person in America that changed their mind.
It was. I am so lost because I also get that feeling like if you watch any Republican like commentary, it's already like they've already toned it way down. And even on into our point earlier, I listened to a significant portion of the All In podcast. And for our listener, those are just a bunch of investors, really smart guys. And one of the guys, David Sachs, is a Republican. And like the way he was saying, like, yeah, punishment would have been the same if that was a group of black people. And I don't understand why we're even going there. And yeah, it was like, it's like, whoa, like to hear a really, really intelligent guy like justify it and already start to make it not that big of a deal is fucking crazy.
He's insane. He's an insane person.
Like you're discredited the moment you utter a sentence like that. I don't care how smart and rich you are. The moment you think that race wasn't involved in how people were treated, you're out of your goddamn mind. You had cops helping them breach the Capitol.
You know what's not fair too? Go ahead.
No, like we're going to look back in history, like January 20th, 2021, we had to do a virtual inauguration and there couldn't be people. And we're like, oh, it's because of the pandemic, right? No, it's because the fucking Capitol got breached last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we were under attack.
Yeah.
What's so crazy to me and just feels so like just shitty and unfair is when you bring up would that have been the same thing if it were black people to those type of people? They always say, why do we got to make it about race?
Yeah.
Why do we got to take it there?
Yeah, because they're out of touch and they have no idea what's going on in the real world.
But the fact that like Republicans across the board, it's just interesting to me because to me, I see it going one of two ways. Either the Republican Party gets very, very, very dangerous because they're just in the process of building steam that started with birtherism and started with all this crazy right-wing media, like all of these, like the right side, the Republicans have really latched on to like conspiracies and fairy tales, right? And so either we're witnessing like just a part of the journey and it gets really dangerous, or this is the breakaway point. This is the too much point, and the Republican Party like changes and that becomes like a weird portion of it. But I can't tell which side of that we're on.
So I think it's going to be fragmented. So you have, your Ben Shapiro types that will never break costume, right? They'll never break their act. They're going to hold on to this forever. But then you have Lindsey Graham now coming on talk shows acting like, oh, I'm a sensible, reasonable guy. This is some crazy stuff that happened. I don't approve of it. And you have the Republicans who have to actually legislate in Congress and act normal. Otherwise, they'll be completely sidelined because they have no power in Congress. Democrats control everything. But then you have 90% of people that voted for Trump would vote again. So then they're going to be playing this like balancing act of like, do I want to get stuff done in Congress and play with the Democrats, or do I want to pander to our base? And I think they're just jammed up and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's scary, man. It's just that's also why I support deplatforming so much. Is like, you gotta like get Trump. If Trump left and just had every bit of like outlet that he had, he's just gonna like continue. He's still gonna lead the Republican Party, just not from office.
Yeah.
Completely. And then there's just not the same rules or anything.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't see how you can allow him back on any platform, given that we now know what his followers are capable of. Because everyone's like, oh, there just needs to be moderation rules and it would be fine. Fine. Then is Donald Trump's tweet, someone at Twitter has to be sent the tweet in advance. I'm not relying, because even if it gets posted, even for 30 seconds, it's getting screenshotted, shared to millions of people around the world instantly. So we can't allow for some technology moderation where even if it's even shown for 1 minute or some policy thing, because his supporters want to see it how they want to see it. So like we just can't allow it unless Twitter just hires someone full time that sits with Donald Trump and he tweets and goes, all right, that's approved. You can send it.
Yeah.
That would literally have to be. That's the only way. If I was Twitter, I would allow Donald Trump to tweet. He has a guy full time next to him.
Yeah. This is the other thing that's crazy is I spent a little bit of time this week, maybe regretfully, trying to understand this whole QAnon thing. Because
can you walk me through, like, you started your week, you're like, I want to accomplish these 10 things.
Yeah, number 10 was
brainwashed
QAnon. Here's what happened. What happened was when I was watching like the recaps and stuff of the Capitol Hill stuff, it started to like really blow me away how much Q merch there was there.
Yeah.
And signs, and like Q was very heavy in that crowd. So then I just started trying to understand, like, I know Q is like, haha, it's this funny thing where people think that the government's whatever, but like, what is it really? And like, if you really look at what the QAnon thing is, and if you look at the fact that Trump has not, like, I think Trump not denouncing QAnon, which he has never done, is just as dangerous as him not denouncing racists and white supremacists, because it's kind of all in the same. And even though racist and white supremacists, he's come around and kind of gave like half-assed, apologies or whatever. Q, he's never done. He's always said, I understand they don't like pedophilia, and I like that. If you look at what it really is and the fact that it's fueling all these people, it is so scary. This isn't just like a bunch of white people that are sick of not having jobs and have been convinced that the election is stolen and want to get out there. It's like there's a large portion of that believes that you need to go in there and kidnap Nancy Pelosi and Mike Pence because they are fueling a pedophile cabal of deep state leftist, like we have to save our country. And what's so scary is like these people are out there thinking that they are soldiers saving our country from deep state pedophiles. It's like such a deeper passion that Trump has never denounced. He's never said it wasn't true. And it's just been able to like boil up. So there's like this fairy tale land. Like these people spend all day on the computer searching for clues that Mike Pence is one of the pedophiles. Like it's so crazy.
Yeah, and I think the real challenge is the only way to solve this nonsense is by deplatforming. There's no moderation solution because the internet, to moderate the internet is impossible, right? So to even allow someone that they'll find a way around it, right? There's ways to always. People are smarter than these systems. They'll find ways to communicate however they want. So the best is to completely dead it to the ground and then slowly rebuild from there. Because you can't, that's the problem why I think none of these people, these so-called smart people have suggested the simple idea that I've been suggesting for 5 years, which is you have to have an internet ID. You have to have an identification on the internet and that is your personality on the internet, like the same way you have in real life. You have a phone number, you have a driver's license, you have a social security card. You have a social security card for the internet, and that now we know if you say crazy shit, there's consequences for it. Yeah. Then you won't say it. Because when you walk down the street and you yell crazy shit, you get punched in the face. So no one does that.
Yeah. The fact that we haven't banned and like figured out how to get ahead of this QAnon thing, I think is very dangerous. I think it's just way crazier than we think. I think a regular, like smart, educated person says like, okay, well, that's clearly absurd. And the great thing about the internet is that the truth is all there and you can find information and whatever. But the other thing about the internet is that if you are crazy, you can sit and just confirmation bias yourself all day long that you're right. Yeah. And it has truly radicalized people. Like it has radicalized people the same way terrorists have, but I would say even crazier because at least there's sort of a foundation of like war and disagreement there. It has people living in a fairy tale land that they are storming the Capitol to take it back from the pedophile deep state. That's really scary.
It's insane.
Yeah, I also think just to tie a bow on that, like imagine if you gathered at Pan Pacific Park with guns and rifles screaming debt to Pelosi, debt to Pence, wouldn't you be surrounded by police like that are trying to mitigate the situation? How's that different than Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of it, right?
Yeah. I have another example. Remember when the Pokemon game blew up and everyone was out chasing imaginary Pokemons with their phones?
Yep.
Imagine if instead that game had you chasing congressmen and women because they were pedophiles and you needed to kill them. And people actually started doing it. How quick would we get rid of that game?
Yeah.
We talked about getting rid of that game because people were walking out into traffic and shit. Imagine that's essentially what's happening. It's a make-believe game that has people hunting congressmen and women. Yeah. And we're like, well, free speech.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, the only people saying free speech are the people that believe it and support it. That's it,
man. And there is like
no one else.
I know the intellectuals think it's a cool thing to do. Let's not downplay that. The intellectuals really think it's cool to back this free speech. Like
maybe Naval is an alt-right guy.
No. They think they're playing three-dimensional chess with us. They're too smart for us. Like
maybe he should be deplatformed.
No, all of them, dude. It's all of these guys, all these like quote unquote brilliant Silicon Valley billionaires that all believe this. And like, They're not in the fire. They have no threat. Like, they're going to be fine. And it's just crazy.
Yeah, I also think that they think it makes them sound like with the people.
Yeah.
Here's my other question. Like, they are, from what I gather from my deep dive, which I'm now radicalized and my account has been flagged. But what I took from my deep dive is like, these people are starting to like do things like attempt to start their own like political party, and people are starting to run for office. And like, what are you going to do the day when a congressperson, which almost just happened, runs on QAnon, wins, and
she won, right?
She won.
No, I think Georgia.
Georgia?
Yeah.
She definitely won. The QAnon candidate won. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. So then what happens in 4 years when someone's running for president on a QAnon platform and starts gaining some steam? Are you going to ban it then? Because if you ban it then, now it looks like, yeah, free speech, and like you're just tearing down. Now all you're going to do is fuel those people up. Like, at what point are you going to be like, oh shit, we need to get ahead of this? Is it going to be when someone wins the election and the next Donald Trump is a QAnon person, like the guy with the fucking horns? What are you going to do if guy with the horns runs for president, and the same way we did with Donald Trump, we said, but never in a million years, and fucking guy with the horns is our president? What are you going to do?
And all these super smart people that are all libertarians are post 9/11. Are they against us taking our shoes off at security? We compromised that liberty because we were like, hey, planes were just blown up and thousands of people died, but we all just shut up and took our shoes off the next week.
Yeah, free speech.
I know. You know how to end QAnon? If I'm CIA and I'm really concerned about this, I would send black CIA operatives into QAnon and try to make the head of QAnon a black person, and it'll be over.
Well, I will say the guy who organized the Stop the Steal rally and claims he had friends from congressmen was a black guy.
No way.
Yes. He organized the rally. It was his Stop the Steal is his movement, and he claims to have organized with congressmen to get it done and worked with Trump's people. Black dude. So maybe he comes out in a couple months and says, "Gotcha."
Maybe he's okay. We need a Muslim guy then.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then one other thing. We're a business show. I got two other stories here. One thing is we're a business show, so of course we got to talk about bankruptcies, and especially when a company goes bankrupt that, I don't know, on the surface seems like they should be thriving like never before in history.
Yep.
That is the NRA. Filed for bankruptcy, moving to Texas, which, number one, I can't imagine how, if you can't keep the business afloat now, when can you? And number two, why weren't you in Texas this whole fucking time?
Yeah, I don't know. They lost $64 million last year. This is the worst run organization ever because everyone's stealing it.
Yeah, that's the point.
But they just live lavishly, the heads?
Yes. If you donate
to the pyramid scheme, the NRA.
If you donate to the NRA, you're a fucking moron because all you're doing is buying private jets for the leaders.
These guys are like celebrity pastors.
Yes, it's literally that. I mean, so all they're doing is filing bankruptcy. They're screwing a bunch of people. Like they're screwing their ad agency they owe $1.2 million to. They're just screwing a bunch of people, probably like just hardworking regular companies. And then they're going to go reincorporate in Texas, and they can continue to, keep this charade going like they're doing something for society, but they're just stealing money. They literally just stole money. It's crazy. And much fraud.
And what people don't realize is the same people who stormed the Capitol are probably donating their fucking hard-earned money to the NRA. And they're like, it's just these people like are just so dumb. Like, it's just shocking.
I mean, people have been donating nonstop to the Trump campaign for the last since the election.
And there's no campaign.
I mean, you want to talk about lighting money on fire so that Trump can hope to dig himself out of this hole. That's what you're doing.
So I read a New York Times piece just before we jumped on that the last week hustle is paying Trump lawyers that are cronies to Trump to try to get that pardon before Wednesday. So these lawyers are taking $50,000, $100K like fees hoping that whoever trying to get the pardon, and it's just fascinating to see. I mean, it's going to be blockbuster. Like it's
when
going
that pardon list come out?
It'll come out hours before Biden's inaugurated.
That's bigger than that's like when they released the Coachella lineup times 100.
Well, you know what the thing is the people who stormed the Capitol, I bet you this was all over Parler, that Trump is going to pardon you if you get in trouble. This guy, this idiot in Texas that was at the Capitol who's getting faced with some crazy federal crime is like, I think I'm going to get pardoned.
Yeah. They've all been saying that. I've seen even the lady who flew on the private jet was like, Trump needs to pardon us. He needs to pardon us all.
I mean, he might do that.
He might. So we need to Photoshop the Coachella lineup photo with the pardon list.
Yeah. It's pathetic. It's fucking clowns, all of them.
Okay. And then last but not least, your boy, Kanye West, is in a lawsuit. And here's the thing. He's not on the receiving end. He's doling it out this time.
Aggressive.
Yeezy is suing an intern.
Yeah.
What's this over? The kid posted a picture that he shouldn't have, or what happened?
Yeah. So on his Instagram, he shared non-public images, and Ryan Inwards is his name. He signed a non-disclosure agreement that contained a $500,000 liquidated damages provision, and this kid posted a picture, probably excited that he works at Yeezy. And Kanye is filed suit against him, or his team has, or Yeezy has, right? Obviously, there's no way this lawsuit is being placed without the blessing of Kanye, because it's so public, anything Kanye does. This is bad for business.
This is stupid.
You do not sue interns at any cost.
For $500,000? What's the point? He's an intern. He doesn't have $500,000 to give you. What are you going to do?
Maybe he's a rich kid. Maybe he's a rich kid.
Yeah, it's possible. He could be a Calabasas rich kid that got the job, and now his parents owe $500,000. Yeah, I agree, man. I don't. And what was? Do we know exactly what the picture was? Like, it's not like he let out the big secret of the year.
Well, let me tell you what they didn't let out. Is Gap and Kanye doing anything? Where's the product?
I'd like to ask the intern.
We should interview the intern.
Does he lose the youth? This guy's a walking clown show.
Yeah.
Never. Doesn't matter. You think about what happened with Donald Trump's followers. They went into the Capitol. They're going to serve 15 years in jail. The guy's approval rating amongst his followers is the same. People want to believe this is like demagoguery. We love it. He's
like a cult leader at this point. That's the only way.
I would also argue that Kanye sort of lost the youth in the sense of like the music isn't connecting. Like no one's playing the latest Kanye record, whatever. But I just think he's surpassed. He's just too big. It's like Jordan. Like all the kids that wear Jordans don't give a shit about what Michael Jordan's up to today. Right. It's just you become a character,
Yeah, and speaking of that, I watched the first part of the Tiger Woods documentary. We have nothing else to talk about, right?
I watched.
That was the last topic, right?
Yeah.
So I watched part one. I think Anand, you watched part one, right?
Yep.
So I watched it.
Content of the week.
My quick takeaways from it. I'll never play golf. It's stupid.
Okay.
Number 2, Earl Woods has a couple screws loose.
That's the dad?
Yeah, that's the dad.
I mean, to be great like a Tiger Woods is at his profession, when you actually dig deep into these people, it's really, really sad.
Yeah.
Like, I watched that and I was depressed. I was sad for the guy. I was like, man, I understand he's the most greatest golfer and he changed the sport and blah, 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 all those great things. But, and I know if you ask any of these people, would you ever change a thing? They would say no, because the ego, the fame, the money, it's just too powerful.
Yeah.
But fuck, man, I felt so bad for Tiger Woods after watching that. And
but wait, hold on, because I watched it. So your point is basically his dad forced him into this, and he he didn't choose this path. It was basically like forced upon him. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was forced upon him. Like I have a 3-year-old. His kid was at 2.5 on whatever TV.
Sounds like Tom's behind.
No, it sounds like I don't want to torture.
Sounds like you need to get out the paddle.
Well, it's funny is I watched that and my wife and I watched it together and we were like, we couldn't tell our 3-year-old to do anything, literally anything.
No, but there's stories of Earl Woods, like when Tiger was an infant, he would just put him in like the little crib, whatever, and just have him watch him swing the golf club over and over and over.
And I credit Earl Woods for like he willed his kid into becoming this incredible athlete in person. But like it's just I don't know, it just as a parent now and having a kid at the age at when Tiger Woods really started playing golf, it doesn't feel right to me. Like it feels like I feel like you're, as especially after learning a lot about parenting, like you need to let your kids develop and you need your kids to like, yes, you have to guide them and show them, but like so many, specifically in sports, you see these overbearing parents, like will their kids into like these super amazing.
But I think honestly, Earl Woods and Tiger is like clearly the exception. The guy's the greatest golfer of all time or one of the greatest athletes of all time. But like the worst part is if your kid doesn't have the Tiger talent and your parents think that they do. And we've seen this in our childhood. We're in the Valley with kids who are never going to make it and their parents treating them and screaming and yelling and fighting on the sidelines. That's the real problem. Earl is actually like, at least Tiger was the greatest golfer.
Yeah, but that's the problem is that's what makes it so much worse. There's only one Tiger Woods, but there's millions of parents doing this to their kids.
Yeah.
You know how many Earls there are ever since Tiger?
Yeah, for sure.
Of like kids that just have shitty golf swings and like how many Joe Jacksons there are of kids with shitty voices and how many Matthew Knowles there are of young ladies that can't dance for shit. Like there is so many just like verbally abusive parents to untalented kids. But that's like that's like a documentary or a book that I would love to see or read is like the parents of great people. Because like you hear it time and time again, and we even talked about it in the beginning of the episode. I'm not saying by any means he was bad. I don't know anything about it really, but even Martin Luther King's dad changing his name at such a young age and like setting him up for like, this is who I'm comparing you to.
Yes.
So like live up to that, and like you hear it with Michael Jordan and his desire to like get attention from his dad. And like I said, Matthew Knowles, Joe Jack. Like I think a lot of times like you can't reach that level unless there's something out of the norm. You know?
I agree. Well, and here's my one comparison on. So I watched the first part, and Tiger Woods played a sport which is predominantly white and broke barriers that had never been seen before, right? And had a profound impact on the sport. And I would say, as a person of color, I don't think, and maybe it's incorrect to put this pressure on him, I don't think he did a lot for his people with his rise to power and fame. Because my comparison, someone that came around the same time as he did, which is LeBron James, did everything he could for his people.
No, but see, I don't think that's a fair comparison, and I don't actually know. And as much as I love LeBron, the burden you're putting on Tiger Woods is it's apples and oranges because LeBron played a black sport that was controlled by black people. Like the stars are all black.
Tiger Woods, it's not controlled by black people. That's a ridiculous statement.
No, in terms of like who matters in the NBA, they're all black. So like you can speak out without any consequence because they are the sport. It's 85% black. Golf is 99% white. So
yes, but I agree. And I think what he did in his 20s and his 30s, I get it. You got to shut up and dribble, make your money. He is cemented now as the GOAT, right? Probably the greatest athlete ever. You can argue, right? He's golfing with Donald Trump. He got the Medal of Freedom from Donald Trump. He knows what that means to his people. I don't think he gets it.
Yeah, even Bill Belichick turned that down,
But it took the Capitol to get preached for Bill Belichick. He was scheduled. He was scheduled on Tuesday to show up.
And that's why I give Tiger Woods a pass for his 20s and 30s. I get it. It's about money. It's about fitting in. I'm victim of that
But
too.
You can't put everyone. You can't put that burden on everyone. Some people just don't care, and that's okay to not care.
That's fine. Then I just can't put him in the GOAT category because
So you're
LeBron did
accusing
it.
him of I'm not black, I'm Tiger.
Yes.
He's half black, half Asian, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But either way, look, I think either way, if we're ending on a positive note here, especially on MLK Day, the fact that he did it and he was in himself was proof that it could be done, I think is the most powerful thing.
Of course. Like, I'm not undermining anything about his talent or what he accomplished. I unfortunately have very high expectations for people.
Yeah, that's fine. And you should.
And if people don't live up to it, that's fine. It's not that they're bad people, but like what I see LeBron doing in the community is fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, there you have it.
We have a couple shout outs.
We want to do shout outs with us. I mean, we probably shouldn't. Tim, do you want to do the shout outs?
Do I want to do all the shout outs?
I mean, how do
Just
we want to do
start shouting out, Tim.
We've got, as you would expect, we've received another shout out from our fourth
Enormous
podcast.
Yeah.
Well, this one's actually from D's kid.
Okay. Wow.
He says, "Yo, Dad, I'm hungry. For the love of God, will you turn off Bridgerton and give me something to eat? I would ask you to read me a bedtime story, but I'm pretty sure reading was never a part of the curriculum at USC. By the time I'm old enough to go to college, tuition at USC will probably be $840,000 a year or the cost of a single Bitcoin. By that point, they'll also make sure to instill a new rule. Double the legacy, double the tuition. You can blame Anand for that. Gonna go to group chat you instead. Thanks, and no more British dramas, please."
Those are good. Those are good.
Well done.
He's a comedy writer.
Yeah,
that guy's really, really good. I got a shout out from it's for the Swank King, aka KB. He's from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but my certificate says Alameda because I was born in Oakland. So shout out to Cali. I've lived a quarter of my life on January 18th. The fake black stat says I'm supposed to be dead or in jail by 25. I want to thank you guys for all the info you've given us, Kathy's. I'm a music artist, Swank King, but I always studied business, entrepreneurship. I used to do my business class projects on Young and Reckless and Drama. I'm a man of many traits, and I swore if we get more stimmy, I'll put it into the stock and crypto because of you guys. More importantly, January 18th, happy anniversary to my girlfriend, Bailey Bowman. It's our 2-year anniversary. We've been together going on 6 years. Strong, happily, loving, loyalty, and respect. I'm very thankful. I'm not fond of birthdays. Seem artificial to me. The day is supposed to be everyone happy. The day is supposed to be so that everyone is happy for me. So I made it our anniversary to make the day about her and us.
Nice.
So Corona postponed their Cherry Blossom Spring Japan Korea trip. So they went to Sedona and Grand Canyon. And then he sent me a video. His girlfriend had done like a cherry blossom Japanese vibe in their house. So pretty cool.
Nice. Well, shout out to the Swank King.
Yeah. Shout out to the Swank King. And then final is shout out to Anand from our man Sean over at Catalyst. He got him, Anand gave him a Clubhouse invite.
Yeah,
and he told him about Celsius, which has been crushing it for me. So I'm guessing he bought the stock. So shout out on in. Ironically, I try to give a listener a Clubhouse invite. He's like, hook me up. He gives me his phone number. I try to add it. His phone number doesn't work. Can't get him on. He was like, can you shout me out and see if anyone else can give an invite? I told him, no one on fucking earth will spend as much time that I spent on trying to get you on Clubhouse.
So he gave you a wrong phone number?
I don't know. He doesn't. You have to have an active phone number to get on Clubhouse. And so, sorry, bro. I don't know if you'll ever see Clubhouse. Maybe a friend or a relative will have it, and you can check out their account.
Hey, you tried. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Okay, is that it?
We have one from Laura in Australia. Says, Happy 36, Craigie. We love and appreciate all that you are and all that you do. Thanks for being an awesome human. Love you, wife and the girls.
Oh,
What's the big Australian contingent, huh?
yeah. We got to go. I think that's a good tour stop.
I'd love to go to Sydney.
2022. Backseat up.
We'll go for New Year's 2022. 2021 New Year's, Sydney.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair.
A live show?
Happy MLK Day. Happy long weekend. And we'll see you on Tuesday.
Peace.
Bye-bye.